So what's the status?
Oh, well, both the warp drive and the main engine are busted. Might be a while before I can get the parts needed to make the repairs. The good news is the auxiliaries seem to be fine, so the life support systems are still online, the power's still running, and we have plenty of supplies. We just won't be able to go anywhere for a while.
So we're adrift in space.
Yeah, not exactly the first time that's happened to me, to be honest.
We're screwed, aren't we?
Not yet. Like I said, we have plenty of power and food and water. This isn't too bad. In fact, it could be way worse. Well, I had to open my big stupid mouth, I guess. Hello, people of Earth. I'm Vibi, and I'm here to announce the official launch of the Space Alien Explains Patreon. Join me and my other honorary aliens, and you can get access to cool things like early episodes, uncensored episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and past nudes.
What?
Just kidding, I don't have past nudes. But I can draw you some. And for as little as $2 a month, you can have influence over what kind of videos I'll make next through some good old-fashioned democracy. 'Cause that absolutely hasn't gone wrong for me ever before. Right now my current goal is to fix our busted engine and get some new equipment so I can start putting out higher quality videos, but some of my future goals include a Discord, a separate streaming channel, a return to weekly uploads, and another alien friend I'd like you to meet. If any of this sounds cool and you want the full details, come check out my page at patreon.com/aspacealienexplains. Link will be in the corner as well as in the description. I understand that we're in the middle of a slow burn apocalypse, so if you can't pledge right now, no worries. I really am grateful for all your support no matter how you show it, whether it's likes, comments, or just sharing my vids with your buddies. I'd love to do YouTube full time, and it's because of all of you I feel like I'll be able to get to that point one day. So no matter how long you've been with the channel, I want to give you my sincerest thanks. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got to finish putting out that fire, but do enjoy the video. It's Q&A time! UQIA. Everybody knows how this works. It's probably gonna get weird, but when is it ever not weird in here? As a note, if a question you were looking for doesn't come up, it might have been answered already in my previous Q&A. Some questions asked in this video do build on info from the previous one, so it might be a good idea to watch that first.
Post-editing task here, with post-editing notes. Because there was a large gap of time between writing the script and editing the video, some questions disappeared during this gap due to users deleting accounts, getting suspended, or just deleting their questions before VB could grab screenshots. VB did not edit her script to replace these missing questions, but she did make placeholder screenshots. So if you see a screenshot with deleted user on it, that's what happened.
Anyways, no more delay. First question, please.
What's the weirdest you've found while researching human history? Of course. I mean, if you found a dead body IRL, that would be fun.
I can't really say for sure if this is indeed the weirdest thing I've found, but there was a piece of information I wanted to include in the Machishkapu video, but I ended up scrapping it because I was f***ing where to put it. So Ben Franklin wrote an academic paper on flatulence in which he described in uncomfortably great detail about what certain farts smell like, and then tried to convince the Royal Academy of Brussels to find a drug that makes your gas smell like perfume. He might have just been posting. That's not out of character for Ben.
What do you think of the planet that rains glass sideways?
Not only does it rain glass sideways, it rains glass sideways faster than the speed of sound. How about no?
What's the space alien equivalent of fanboy hooters?
Hey Pask? Where the hell did you work before this?
What's your favorite celestial body?
Okay, so I guess from here, if you go out towards the Sagittarius constellation, about 120 parsecs away from the center of the galaxy, there's this giant cloud, and it's full of alcohol. I gotta go through a few steps to make it drinkable, but when I did, it me up. There's other alcohol clouds in space, but I gotta mention the Sagittarius one because it tastes like raspberry rum. Anyway, that's how I survived 2020. All hail the booze cloud.
Have you seen the dexterity toy? If so, do you own one?
Yeah, I've seen the dexterity toy. I don't have one, but I know they've got some at Spencer's. They're all opaque though, so I have no idea how you'd be able to see what you're doing. Ooh, this one's got a gemstone.
Blue pill or red pill?
Instructions unclear. Ate both. Call poison control.
What inspired you to be an artist? P.S. Love your videos, they always make me laugh.
I played Sonic Heroes and it all went downhill from there.
Which portion of the art process do you seem to like most?
Line art and drawing hands. When I made a pact with the demon to get art skills, they were like, okay, but you're gonna like the parts everyone hates and vice versa. And I told them that suits me just fine.
You made a deal with the devil to learn to draw.
Literally the first step in becoming an artist, Pask.
Are you related to Cthulhu?
Listen, just because I'm a tentacled otherworldly being who has an interest in death, chaos, and madness doesn't mean I'm directly related to Cthulhu. He's a very distant cousin, but I don't think I'd call that related.
What made you want to start YouTube?
I've been hired to make various art assets for a bunch of YouTube channels over the years, and eventually I got to a point where I was like, hey, what the I could make a channel too. I've always wanted to try making educational content that was more loose, casual, and maybe a little vulgar, so that's kind of what I ended up going with. And now I'm here. Wasn't expecting to get this far, but
With the state of the world and YouTube as a whole, have you ever thought of using your animation background and YouTube resources to make a serialized web show with all this extra time?
bold of you to assume I have extra time. But I have thought about what I would make if I did. The thing is, if I were to create a new series outside of YouTube, it, would not be for a general audience. If you know, you know.
What is this landmark?
The Gateway of the Sun, dwelling place of the mystical phenomenon known as Sugma.
What's Sugma?
Sugma Ball!
You got any dogs or cats running around? You strike me as a cat person, if not then you are valid.
I have a cat, a dog, and a bird. Because the only thing I want in my life is chaos.
Joke question time. What is Pask into? Don't answer that joke question, please. I don't want to know what he's into.
Too bad you asked the question and I'm gonna answer it. Here I go! Woo!
What does your ship look like?
As I mentioned in the previous Q&A, we're descendants of a parasitic species, and our thing was harvesting host corpses for parts to use in our organic technology. Nowadays we use mostly metal and rocks, but we still model our vehicles and crafts after our host creatures. It just makes things a bit easier. My ship is admittedly a bit vintage. It's essentially a hybrid, a mix of organic and inorganic. Some people really like the organic bits of the ship. They think it's super cool and unique. And other times they're like, wow, is that gross? I don't like walls being veiny and pulsing. The ship controls the same way I would control a host. Plug my tentacles in and use electrical impulses to make it do whatever. The downside is, only Bellums can drive the ship, so if we're having a guest on board who's a different species and something happens to me or Pask...
As a parasitic species, what is one human that you would take over?
Mark Zuckerberg. Not because I want the endless power Facebook possesses. I just want to know if he's actually a lizard.
Tell us more about your home planet and some of the others.
I guess I could talk more about Vacrona 6, sure. As most of you know from the previous Q&A, Vacrona 6 is my home planet. 6 started out as a colony of Vacrona Prime. In fact, it's the first terrestrial planet ever colonized by Bellums. Bellums normally try to claim gas planets since they tend to be bigger and the environments are pretty close to what we're used to anyway, but 6 just happened to be chock full of metals, which is something hard to find on a gas world, so they'd be stupid to pass that up. The first inhabitants of 6 were mostly working in the mines, but since we were just a colony at the time, the majority of the materials acquired went straight to Prime. But due to a shenanigan, the 6s told Prime to go themselves, and we cut them off from our materials. From there, we started building our own tech, and it eventually got to a point where we were conquering other planets faster than Prime. Prime no longer considers 6 a colony anymore, but like the other Vacrona planets, we are all in one giant alliance. Other planets in the Empire are more focused on bettering conditions for their inhabitants, but us 6s just want to know what else is out there. That and galactic domination sounds fun too, I guess.
Have you found the poop sock?
I have not found the poop sock, but I have found the poop dick.
It has come to my attention that this is not poop. This is in fact. But BB is an idiot. What is your video making process like?
This is how I've been making videos recently, not including this one of course, this one's a bit of an exception. But for the mainline videos, it goes like this. Once I pick a topic, or I make my patrons pick for me, it takes 1 week to research and write a script, 1 week to record voice lines and make the artwork, 1 week to edit audio, and 1 week to edit together the final video. I would probably go through this process a lot faster if I did YouTube full time, but I'm not at that point yet.
How did you figure out that you are an alien?
Ask me that again and look into my eyes.
If you cut a villain's tentacles off, will it grow back? Plus, how come you have suction cups and not Pask?
The suction cups might be because I've got someone from Vacrona 9 somewhere in my ancestry. And yes, the tentacles will grow back. Not immediately, but they grow back.
Where does your alien civilization rank on the Kardashev scale? 1.5. Face with open mouth. 2. Hushed face. 2.5. Exploding head.
Well, we got the whole control the star thing down pretty easily, so definitely a type 2. We're maybe possibly a type 3, but I don't know. Taking over a whole galaxy sure is harder than it sounds.
How old is Pask?
Pask is younger than me by 5 years, which humans might describe as a bit of a gap, but to a species like us that lives for about 1,000 years or so, we're practically the same age.
When it comes to driving the spaceship, who's the better driver, you or Pask?
Well, Pask doesn't have a captain's license to drive a ship, so me. He's the navigator, he just tells me where to go. It's a team effort.
How many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop?
1 if you're not a coward.
Ever met those overlord lads that Arthur C. Clarke was on about? If so, please tell them Earth needs them desperately. I'm ready to get off this ride.
Overlords? Why do they sound familiar?
I think I can answer that.
Oh?
The security camera got it.
Listen. I get that you want to interfere with, like, bullfighting or whatever, and I completely understand the sentiment. But trust me, babe, you don't want this hot potato. Just turn the ship around, go find another civilization, because this one is too far gone, my guy. Ah.
Are you gonna take over the universe and destroy us all? Serious question.
If there's anything I've learned from being around humans for so long, it's that y'all will destroy yourselves if I just wait around long enough. There's not really anything I have to do. Except... maybe I can get a load of cash if I make a betting pool with the other captains.
Will you ever collaborate with small YouTubers and shout them out in your videos?
I'm always working with smaller YouTubers, mostly on art assets like character sprites, thumbs, and banners. If you check my channels tab, you'll find a bunch of smaller creators I've worked with or am currently still working with, at least the ones I still remember. There's also the Alien Invasion playlist, which is a collection of videos where I've cameoed or assisted with art stuff. Half of it is Kurt Ritchie, but the other half is smaller YouTubers.
Why are you so talented and...
Cocaine.
How did you and...
I'm lying out of my please don't use cocaine.
How did you and Pask meet?
I just found him in my cargo hold one day. No idea how long he'd been there. I think he might have snuck in while I was stopped at a station to restock on supplies. He was willing to tell me he's from Vacrona Prime, but not really much else. I'll be honest. Hang on a sec. Okay, not here. There's a lot of things about Pask that I don't get. For one, he's very obviously artificial. Artificials don't leave Prime. They're not supposed to be able to think, or have personalities, or be able to do anything except tend to their masters. But somehow he made it all the way to a space station on the other side of the galaxy, and he knows how to navigate. That's 2 things that should not have happened. How long have you been standing there?
Are you pansexual?
I definitely match with the description of pansexuality, but I prefer to use bi to describe myself. I don't know. Labels are a human construct and will always be flawed.
Are you not a space alien, the real you, by like you have implied in some of your videos?
Oh, are you asking if the human suit is bi? Yes, the human suit is bi.
You have a crush on someone.
Does Simone from Epica count?
How do glimmerins mate /breed /procreate /bang each other? What kind far does the horniness go in your species? Is it as far as humans or way beyond? Do you release toxins in a solid and or liquid form? Do aliens reproduce?
Nope. I'm not getting demonetized today.
Have you ever come across something in our human history that left you asking how are they still thriving?
This is a more recent event, but remember when y'all set the ocean on fire twice in a week? How in the fresh, Parmesan-encrusted
How do you use your human body if your tentacles would be a dead giveaway?
Okay, so like I mentioned in the last Q&A, my tentacles are zappy zappy, as in they generate electricity. So how I use the human suit is I gotta slide my tentacles in, and then to move different parts, I just gotta send out some electrical impulses. It's kind of similar to how your nervous system works. It takes a while to get used to using it, but it makes it real easy to blend in once you got the hang of it.
Opinions on a certain version of anime your tentacles would be used for?
I'm convinced every person sub to me is into tentacle. Tentacles are the main appeal of this channel, like who the are we kidding?
Will you ever make a Discord server?
It's one of my Patreon goals.
How do you feel about Nagito?
The fingers in his guy? Well, if Kanye West likes fingers in his then I'm allowed to like Nagito Kamaida. Honestly though, Nagito Kamaida reminds me a lot of Joshua from The World Ends With You, and unfortunately, this son of a is one of my favorite characters of all time.
What anime are you currently watching?
I recently started watching My Hero Academia Season 5, Fena Pirate Princess, and Food Wars Season 4.
Like I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of time passed between writing the script and editing the video, so VB has finished watching all those. Current anime now are Attack on Titan The Final Season Part 2, Made in Abyss, and Assassination Classroom Season 2. How did you come up with the design of your character and Pask?
People like to make Splatoon references everywhere in my comments section and on Twitter, which is completely understandable considering I got squid hands. But do you want to see what my first ever drawing of my avatar was? Here you go. This is all the way back from 2012, by the way. Splatoon came out in 2015. The design was actually inspired by Taco Luca, which I don't see anyone pointing out, so I guess there aren't a whole lot of Vocaloid fans around here anymore. When I was redesigning my avatar for the channel, I decided to lean more towards box jellyfish. Pask is more like a cloud and an orchid mantis.
Also, would you ever talk about these kinds of topics with others? Maybe with your patrons or some friends?
This channel is specifically for talking about things I wouldn't discuss around polite company, because they would know instantly that I am cursed. They might try to burn me like the last time.
Is it better to be happy or successful?
For a lot of people, happiness and success go hand in hand, so I guess do what makes you happy and eventually you'll find success. You know, unless the thing that makes you happy is murder or some in that case, don't. Once again, my biggest thank you to everyone who supported me throughout my journey to 10K on YouTube. Whether it's by watching my videos, sharing the channel with your friends, dropping likes, writing comments, sending suggestions, dropping me a few bucks on Ko-Fi or Patreon, or forcing your friends and family at knife point to subscribe. I hope no one's done that last part. Do not force anyone to do anything at knife point, please. I appreciate everyone's patience while waiting for this video to come out. It's taken well over a year at this point, probably 2. Longer videos are kind of a nightmare for me because I have so many other things on my plate, so I try to save long videos for special occasions only. I know the algorithm doesn't really favor shorter videos, but it. The next time I do a long vid, it'll be for like 50k or something. I do have many video ideas planned for this channel, like the very raunchy story behind the Genius of Evil, the third guy to complete the trifecta of Finnish badasses, and maybe the return of Cult Month? Nexium's been in the news again! If you want updates on when the next videos are coming out, be sure to follow me on Twitter at TeaOzaida or on patreon.com/aspacealienexplains. Links are all in the description. I want to take this time to individually thank a few of my honorary aliens on Patreon who have been so patient while I was trying to figure this out. Big shoutouts to the patrons featured on this video's artwork, Max Osiris Art on Twitter, Palimar on Twitter, and PoppyPops11 on Twitter. If you'd be interested in following any of these lovely folks or checking out some of their content, links to their pages are all in the description. Also big shoutouts to Abu Kitty Chris, Andrew Littleton, and Shinare, as well as all the other honorary aliens you'll see in the scroll at the very end of this video, so please stick around until then to see all of their names. And shoutouts to all of you for watching. Thank you so much for 10k. We'll probably be closer to 20k by the time this vid comes out, but it. Now if you'll excuse me, it looks like I got a new fire to put out, but I will see you all next time. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This week's featured fan art is a collaboration piece, line work by HawkArt2K21 on Instagram and colors by Karis Colors on Instagram. Links to their pages can be found in the description. And here's some comments from the last video. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. If you'd like to support the channel, links to my Patreon, Ko-Fi page, and art commission info are in the description. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Taya Ozaida for art and channel updates. Thank you so much again for watching, and here come the honorary aliens.